That's going to be Christian. Where's Christian? There he is. Christian. Is it Geissendoerfer? Am I getting it right?
Very well.
It's actually phonetic, even though it's a really long
and
name.
It has a
It's pretty
meaning.
Phonetic, yeah. So, at any rate, you're going to come up and you're going to talk about
What does it mean? So Geissendoerfer is two words. Geissen is the mountain goats, the one with the little horns, and Dörfer is villages. So I'm the guy from the mountain goats villages. Even
more
though
than
they
we
are
needed. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's fairly clean. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Anyway, so your deal is location marketing, right? So you're based in both Singapore and here, right?
Absolutely.
So he's a good local resource for restaurant recommendations and such. You probably can find them because he's in the location business. So why don't you come on up and tell us all about your business? YOOSE is the name of the business, by the way.
Cool. Thank you, Charles, for the welcome and introduction. So yes, and the irony is there are no mountains really where my family comes from, north in Bavaria, but never mind. So yeah, Singapore and Ho Chi Minh, so I run a business called YOOSE. We're all about location and display advertising into location-based marketing and advertising. Out of Singapore, but then also Ho Chi Minh. So Ho Chi Minh is my operational base, meaning not that we're only in those two markets. We have clients across Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, down to Australia. Usually working with larger brands, but I'm trying to bring some of the insights and findings, and also how this can apply to SMB business here. Why I'm into the location business, probably you've heard of Tinder, so you recognize the logo even. That's only recent. In 1999, I wanted to build a location-based dating platform where, there was no GPS really available in the phones, there was no iPhone, but there was something called triangulation from the network operators. So the idea was there to basically alert people who are close by. The idea got stuck in my mind, and later on then I started about 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, the location-based advertising initially was targeted toward SMBs. We had a self-service platform for coupons and promotions of small businesses to promote their activities in the vicinity. Technically we got it up and running, but in reality we didn't get much customers. Due to lack of a sales channel, also in the time when Groupon was around, so you probably remember that. Nonetheless, I want to still make a second jump in a little bit, now from 99 to 2002. And this is about personalization and location. You may remember the movie I'm just showing a scene from, so Tom Cruise, in something which is personal, location-based, and individual.
The road you're on, John Anderton, is the one less traveled. Make sure you
Good evening. You can do the old-fashioned way. John Anderton. 21 styles provides gourmet cuisine. John Anderton. You could use a Guinness right about now.
So in Minority Report, he gets recognized by his eyes at the time, not by the phone.
forget your troubles.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
Mr. Yakamoto.
Hey, Miss Belfort, did you come back for another pair of those chamois lace-ups?
So, I mean, by the eyes and not by the phone, but it was very personalized. I mean, creepy. He even got his eyes replaced, if you saw the movie, in order to not be recognized anymore. So it was really, but this was 2002, right? Thinking forward, how advertising, how personalized it can be, location-based. You walk in a store, you get addressed personally. I would say it's too creepy, it's too much, but that's what we thought, or what the movie thought at the time will be. Now, I know it's after lunch and you're a little bit thinking in your food, so I have a second one. This is more food, you can see, but it's actually more food in a funny way. And again, it's not from small business, but I think it shows very well what today is really possible with location. footfall to stores, in this case quick selling restaurants, and how funny this can be. The 1 cent Whopper challenge at McDonald's.
Hi, we're just here to order the Whopper. Whopper?
This is McDonald's.
Yeah.
We don't have it. We don't have.
But you don't have the Burger King Whopper here.
We don't have Whoppers here. This isn't Burger King.
No. The app for Burger King. You see it?
I believe you, I see it, but we don't have that.
So we can come to McDonald's and get a Whopper, yeah?
Maybe in another state.
We don't sell Whoppers. It's only Big Macs.
It says buy a 1 cent Whopper at McDonald's.
That's crazy.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get my Whopper.
Have you heard about the crazy Whopper deal?
Yeah, everybody's been asking, but like we never heard of it ever.
Can you do a Whopper Junior?
They probably could make that. It wouldn't be as good as Burger King would, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's Burger King. This is McDonald's, sweetie.
Well, I pushed on here and it said order a Whopper for a penny at McDonald's.
That's a lie. That's a fake thing.
Okay, where's the Burger King?
4 blocks to your left.
So I hope you enjoyed that. It's not a campaign done by us, disclaimer, but I'm trying to show various examples, and please also interrupt me if you have questions in between. I don't want to keep them to the end. But I find it very smart way of using location, something called geoconquesting. We go back later to this, to drive traffic at the end to Burger King. So only when you were in the vicinity of 600 feet of a McDonald's location, through the Burger King app, you could order the Whopper for 1 cent, and then you go to Burger King and pick it up there.
How McDonald's responded?
We don't know, but we better don't want to know, right? So this is... So, I mean, the campaign was from last year, but I think it shows nicely what is possible with geoconquesting. And I mean, the response, they can't respond much, right? Because it's still within the Burger King's digital properties, right? And that's a smart thing to do. Advertiser response often to digital initiatives is put more out of home at the locations, and that is especially true here in I think in Southeast Asia. This is for Middle East, so you would see a lot of that actually still. So tons of non-digital out of homes, and then I have one here from Saigon Ho Chi Minh Airport. Since about 2 years, the advertising panels are empty at the airport. Right? Nobody puts an ad up there anymore. In other cities, you still see HSBC advertising. Probably HSBC thinks they don't get clients enough in Ho Chi Minh. So that's the reality of what's happening when you look at locations. And I mean, I don't want to repeat over and over how much people, especially in Southeast Asia, use mobile only, mobile first. So I don't have to talk about that. Nonetheless, I want to bring up at least one-time numbers now in my presentation, and that's that. Almost everyone uses a phone, a smartphone, for pre-shopping activities, right? Be it just to find the location, be it to find the store opening hours, look at prices or find promotions, reviews of products, even up to the availability of products in stores. So I think that's all from Google. I think with Google the numbers, so I can find them there. So just to make remind that the smartphone people have, and even if it's just a mid-range Android phone, they use it to do those activities before they go and buy. And I mean, reality is also that still around 90% of shopping of commerce happens in store and not online, right? So context is the thing. I mean, data is involved, of course, for all the location data, but also the context of the location, be it the time of the day, the weather, and other stuff. So I think one thing in the context of my presentation, pun intended, I've mapped out here or show you a snapshot of my personal location history from Singapore. This is from a while back. But if you go yourself, and many people are not aware of this, to google.com/location history, you find your own location history, right? As long as you don't actively opt out of Google's location tracking, you find your own location history over the last 10 years probably, or longer, as long as you use Google there. And it tells, obviously, Google as an advertiser, advertising engine, very well about your real-world behavior, and therefore what to target you as well. So, in terms of advertising, how does it look like? So, we do geofencing, or I mean others of as well. Geofence would mean you draw a circle or a polygon around specific locations, stores, airports, shops. And you would target people only who are within the gray highlighted area. So the guys on that busy footwalk crossing would not be targeted. Only people who are within the geofence would see an ad, in our case display ads, inside their mobile applications. So all this comes together, the data, the context, the location. And so I want to give a few examples more how this can look like and how this can be used. The first one is from Google. Google calls the product store visit conversions. So really what they're interested in themselves and for the advertisers is to understand which of the ads, right, the AdWord campaigns, which devices, which ad formats send the most people to the stores. In order then obviously to optimize your spending as a client, but for the client or for the advertiser to get a measurement in Google Analytics then about the store visits. Now, it's nicely available in Google Analytics. However, the catch to it is it's only available for large businesses. So it's only available for businesses who have, I think, at least 1,000 locations and who are larger ad spenders. So Google's store visit conversions is basically not applicable for SMBs out of the box. Now, for Facebook, this looks a little bit different. Facebook calls the whole thing offline conversions. So they advertise it as I say to measure cross-channel conversions. So really between the digital channel and your offline channels. You can also create custom audiences from that. And let me explain you also probably explain how these offline conversions work. So basically, you set up a Facebook ad campaign. You can use the different formats in Facebook available and also Instagram, obviously. And then you would take your offline sales data like phone numbers, email addresses, or data from the CRM, and you upload them back into Facebook. This can be done manually. So Facebook has an offline conversions interface where you can do this. This can be done through an API as well. So there are Facebook offline conversions partner, obviously, who do that. And then one, in real time, you see the attribution between the ad spend and what Footfall has been driving, but also obviously you're able to optimize then the ad spending towards those ad formats and placements with the Facebook ad engine to deliver ads to people who then likely take action, come into your store and really buy. Maybe they're one level deeper. I said email addresses, phone numbers is the two most obvious one because Facebook obviously has those information. So in a country like Vietnam, they have about a 90+% hit rate if you upload phone numbers to match it to actual Facebook users back. They wouldn't give you the name of those Facebook users, but they would allow you to attribute it back to the ad spending. I have also a campaign case study from Facebook for you. This is from Indonesia. They ran it on the last National Day in Indonesia. So what you see, the Grabari are the stores from Telkomsel. Telkomsel being the largest telco operator in Indonesia with, I think, close to 180 million subscribers. And the Grapari stores are the outlets of Telkomsel where you can buy things. Now they run a one-day campaign only on National Day, and they gave a very special package away, which available was a data package, and you could either buy it online, or you could go also to the Grapari stores in order to subscribe to that package. And what they got now, again, by uploading then and integrating the phone numbers of those who purchased the package, they saw a 41x return on ad spend with those offline conversions, right? So it's a pretty impressive number, actually. And as I said, it was a national day, one day only. They did reach and frequency buying for that across the Facebook platform. They connected the phone numbers back to the Facebook engine. And mentioning also, despite 180 million customers, they have, in quotes, only 5.5 million followers on their Facebook page. So it's even not that big. Any questions in between? Yes.
So in the U.S., I mean, obviously we've got a number of people that move around with a mobile app. So how are you getting the location signal? You just did it in Facebook, but the conquesting campaign would require a mobile app in, let's say, Vietnam. Do you have similar providers worldwide, like we do in the United States?
You mean the Facebook example, or?
Well, I mean, you started with the Burger King example. So just imagine the Burger King example here in Vietnam. So then in order to get the signal or the mobile ID, in order to do that, right, you need to have access to that data.
Well,
the
so
Facebook example is separate because you're uploading it to Facebook. But nowadays you want to do first-party data. So what about that? Like, how would you get access to a segment of apps that potentially can get you that information back?
Okay, well, two answers to that. One, in the concrete Burger King example, it was through the Burger King app. So only when you had the Burger King app, they were eventually even sending you push notifications. So you had to have the Burger King app already installed in order to get that deal. So that was not available through other apps, basically. So because of the GPS of the phone, the Burger King app you have allowed previously to use your location data, you could use your location information, then the deal was available to you. Yes.
Well, I guess, I mean, one of the biggest, apps, like, for example, weather is a big app in the United States. Are there any kind of analogous use in anywhere outside the United States that you could get information about people walking into a store?
So yes, so that's the second part of the answer, and that's what we do at YOOSE. We leverage not single apps, but app networks. So weather.com is one of them, XE Currency Exchange, your big games, or stuff even like Shazam or TuneIn Radio. So apps which are available here as well. There are other apps. I mean, you have locally here in Vietnam, for example, you have Zalo, which is a chat app, which has big advertising in their news location. So in the region here are also a number of either large apps locally and also global available apps which have still enough reach here. And what we do, we combine those. This means when we send display ads, we work with ad exchanges and we can buy from them. So that's outside Google and Facebook. We buy from them on those geofences, what I showed earlier. So we would set up, and I can show one example also. Actually, can jump into this right now. So this is a campaign we've been running here in Vietnam for Oppo, which is a large smartphone brand. It's from China. It's after Samsung, the second largest smartphone brand here in Vietnam. So they ran with us a campaign across Vietnam. This was over 2,000 store locations across the country. And because Oppo doesn't have own shops, so they are basically selling through those, well, through a lot of retailers, but those are the three main ones, FPT, Viettel, and the Mobile World, translated the last one. So what we did there, we geofenced all these 2,000 stores, and then the ads would appear in 500 meter to 1 kilometer radius in apps, third-party apps, with a first the signal coming from the GPS straight from the phone. So the third-party apps in the network, but it's coming. The positioning is coming straight from the phone and from the end user. So therefore, we can then use those to to display the ads within the geofences to them. And I mean, showing the ad format here as well was display ads. In this case, showing the interstitial one, and you can see in here the distance, 253 meters, to the closest store of the mobile world. And once you click on it, you get a map open, which then shows you also the directions how to get to that store. And that's actually, so overcoming also the challenge for somebody like Oppo, who doesn't own the Facebook properties and the Google My Business places of those stores, right? That's a mobile world, that's FPT themselves. So it's not Oppo who is owning those properties, therefore they could never run a Google or a Facebook campaign on them. But with the help of a company like ours, so we can set up the campaigns, we can still drive the traffic to the store, and we can actually measure the footfall there. So back to the online to offline conversion. So in this case, yeah, over 2,000 stores, we delivered 3 million ads. They had a pretty high click-through rate. So usually on mobile, a click-through rate is around 0.5% or even less. And of those who clicked through, 6.5% really visited the store afterwards. And the measurement there was done also by an additional ad display when they were at the store. So this is really first source information. So we, as part of the campaign setup, we agree with the advertiser what's calculated as a store visit. So obviously you can't be first at a store and then see the ad. Can't do the reverse. And there's a defined time window. It has to be at least 5, 10, 15 minutes, depends on the advertising campaign, that is really counted as a store visit. Yeah. So we have a DMP, data management platform, which collects all the information from the ad requests and then can spit out the reporting according to that. So two more things. I mean, one is the location targeting, but then a nice one is also location retargeting. So retargeting you probably have heard of, but when it's about location retargeting, it's really saying people have been at a specific location. So up left, that's where we targeted people first at the location, the geofences. Once you've been visiting there, we capture the mobile advertising ID, which is a layer which is between the hardware and your personal ID like Apple and Google ID. So the first time you set up your phone, something is created called mobile ad ID in both in the Google and Apple ecosystem. And this is a hashed anonymous ID, which each time an ad is processed through the ad service is transmitted, so we can capture the information. This can be also uploaded to Facebook and used on Google display ad network in order to retarget people then, even if they're not at the location anymore. So you can build really custom audiences for your own brand, for the own stores, in order to then retarget them over time, remind them to come back, or remind them to utilize the products and services. And then you saw in the Burger King example already the geo-conquesting, basically. So maybe showed in a different way. That's a campaign, or the example from a campaign we run in Austria, where we were helping Chevrolet in order to target competitors' locations. So we put up ads in a radius between 250 meters and a kilometer around Nissan dealerships and other competitors, and basically nicely told them, why don't you want to check out maybe also the Chevrolet offerings, and had here also a quite nice rate of people who actually took action on it. Another channel I want to show you, and this is borrowed from last week's presentation at the Mobile Marketing Forum in Vietnam, where the head of Grab Ads was presenting that. So Grab in the region is like Uber, for those who don't know. It's the largest ride-hailing service. Beyond there's food and other service now as well. And the nice thing there is, first of all, it's an app which is pretty widely used and installed. Second, they have a rewards program included in the app. And through that rewards program, they've been actually, in this case, nicely closing the loop between the ad and then the store visit. So they, in this case, was for a cosmetics product, was sponsored, in this case, also only inside the Grab app. So you saw the ad about the new product. You said, I want to use this as a reward. And what you can see then here at the cashier, basically the cashier had to enter a store PIN, which then allowed to hand out a free sample or a sample size of the product. And so they had some nice results on that as well. The results I'm showing afterwards, but also here retargeting happened. So people who saw the reward, they saved it, but they didn't take action on it, were retargeted throughout the next few weeks, as long as the campaign was running, in order to be reminded of that they have the reward sitting there. And then, so they had, in terms of like new customer acquisition, you can see the numbers. People who even spend then obviously on other products once they were in the store, raised brand awareness, and also the intent to purchase is measured here. So when you do it right, I would say, use tools like Grab, use tools like Facebook to measure that, then you have a really nice online to offline conversion opportunity. Yet there are challenges. So obviously data privacy, GDPR, compliance is important, even though we're here in Asia, but nonetheless, advertisers ask for that. GDPR has, in the location context, put a little dent into the possibility to target, because, well, one, there was a dent down in the number of available ad impressions for a while, but two, around GDPR, second point, I lost it. Maybe it's come back. The volumes, exactly. So the volumes went down due to that. And the second point, when you upgraded, especially in Apple, to the latest iOS, you've been seeing this probably, the increased amount of requests from Apple. Do you still want to allow this app to use your location in the background always or never? So this obviously will bring further down the number of available ad impressions, because that's what we're dependent on, basically, in order to do in-app advertising on a location precise targeting. So the volumes, then the own locations I mentioned already. So you have to own locations on Facebook and on Google in order to be able to do the offline measurements. ROI location calculation is challenging if you don't close the loop through tools like what I showed with Grab, for example, because at the end of the day, you want to know what the sales uplift for what you're doing on your ad spend. So you want to know which ad influences the sales, basically. All right, long enough. I have one more burger for you, which is a Whopper again. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the traffic jam Whopper. Reality.
The Traffic Jam Whopper. We used real-time data to detect our potential buyers in a traffic jam to offer them a Whopper and deliver on the move.
Fernanda, buenos días. Señor Eduardo, buenas tardes.
¡Ay, qué bello! Llegaste en chinga, cabrón. Me cagaba de hambre.
Our media was 100% dynamic, promoting our service only in high congestion zones. By leveraging traffic and drivers' real-time data, we adjusted our billboards' location and content. The messages displayed information about the remaining time in traffic to order and personalized updates about deliveries in progress.
Personalization.
Also, Waze banner ads and push notifications invited drivers to get a Whopper as soon as they entered our delivery zones. People were able to use voice commands to place the order and avoid tickets. Finally, Using the latest Google Maps APIs, our app pinpointed vehicle location and speed in order to deliver for the first time ever to a driver on the move. The delivery zones changed following the traffic live, making our service available when a gridlock was identified, always within a 3-kilometer radius from the restaurants.
Hola Mariana, ¿cómo estás?
Ay, te agarraría besos.
Lo siento, estoy en servicio.
In just 1 week, we increased delivery orders by 63%, and our daily app download rate increased 44 times, becoming the #1 fast food app, surpassing McDonald's, Domino's, and Starbucks in Mexico. Coming soon, Los Angeles, San Paulo, and Shanghai. The Traffic Jam Walk.
Enjoy the traffic jam.
So hopefully in Jakarta soon, Manila, KL. Here in Saigon it's not as bad, more motorbikes than cars. Right. So, I mean, to wrap it up and in conclusion a bit, I hope you enjoyed that. Yes, most of what I showed is more coming from the larger enterprise, true. But again, what Facebook is doing is possible for smaller business. If you go to the Facebook on offline conversions page in Facebook Business, you find some SMBs, well, SMB, it's larger SMB case studies there as well. I also want to mention that we're partnering up with Uber in order to bring display ads to enterprise clients and smaller clients on the Uber platform, so that you can have the integration of not only the listings, all the benefits of the SEO, the store finder, but also then ads around the locations which are already on the platform. So we're moving more towards that space. Yeah, with that, I want to conclude it. If you have any more questions, I'm around also the rest of the day and tomorrow. Please feel free to email me to get the slides and the links of the videos which I've been showing. So, or through the app of the event obviously as well. Thank you.
Great. Any final questions for, got one here.
Hey, hi, great presentation. What is your view of PWA, Progressive Web Apps technology, and its influence moving forward as, you know, mobile apps become more yesterday?
Well, it's so Progressive Web Apps, for the benefit of everybody else, it's basically, it's an app in your browser. So you don't have to download a hefty app. You don't have, well, you can develop faster and easier because you use web technologies. And then for the end user, it looks like an app in your phone. Now the good thing is those Progressive Web Apps can access to almost any core function of the phone. So when it's back to location targeting, what you need is access to the location API of the phone. Progressive Web Apps can access that API as well. So I would say in terms of, like, from an ad perspective, it's not a difference. At the contrary, it's even better than on the web, because mobile websites, when they want to know your location, annoyingly, they ask you every time, can I use your location? So if you allow the Progressive Web App once, then it's persistent, basically. So, and it will just further drive mobile usage. So I think Progressive Web is a pretty good thing moving forward, and especially here in the region where it's more lightweight and bandwidth. I mean, so, well, I wouldn't say it's even worse. Yeah? I mean, sometimes here in Ho Chi Minh and Vietnam, the bandwidth I have on mobile is better than what I have back in Germany. So can't complain.
Any final question? Otherwise, we'll say thank you to Christian. And
My
we're going to
pleasure.
actually go into our break now, and we'll be coming back at 1:45.